Kids. Okay, on this day in film history for July 20th, let's start with films that were released on this day. So in 1984 was the release of The Never Ending Story, directed by Wolfgang Peterson. Wolfgang Peterson, I think I've seen almost all of his filmography, especially in the 90s. Director of Das Boot, In the Line of Fire, Outbreak, Air Force One. Um, yeah, so I think if you're someone that's in my generation, a millennial, that's what I am, you're a kid when Neverending Story came out, saw it, somewhat traumatized you with Atreyu and A-Tracks and all of that stuff. There was a lot of kid or movies for kids back then that contained elements of horror. It's no wonder a lot of us grew up to become horror fans, or a lot of us grew up to become traumatized. Um, let's move on to 2001, the release of Spirited Away. Hayao Miyazaki, of course. Showed this film to my son when he was probably too young to it. Doesn't sit through movies very well. He was glued to the screen for this. I don't know if he understood it or if he liked it or if I traumatized him. But by the way, that film, Spirited Away, when it was released, was at the time the highest grossing film in Japan in their history. Moving on. Let's go to 2012. Christopher Nolan Week was the release of The Dark Knight Rises, the final in the Batman trilogy of Christopher Nolan. I talked about a couple days ago The Dark Knight. It's released, made $1 billion, was the fourth highest grossing film of all time. Dark Knight Rises comes out, and it also made $1 billion. Guess what? At the time, it was the seventh highest grossing film of all time. So the other one made $1 billion. It was the fourth highest. In 2012 comes around, make another $1 billion, and you're only the seventh highest grossing. And it was only the third highest grossing film of 2012. The films that were above it, number two was Skyfall, because everyone loves Adele. Obviously, that's why Skyfall was number two. And number one was the Avengers film. Box office was changing. If you go through, look at 2012's box office, the highest grossing film that year was not and some sort of IP sequel, trilogy, franchise installment was Life of Pi. That's the only film, or the highest grossing film, that is a standalone film. Anyways, there's no sequel, prequel, trequel, requel. Okay, let's move on. So 2018, we have the release of Mamma Mia. Here we go again. I talked about a couple days ago the release of the first Mamma Mia, so made a lot of money. Made a lot of money. I think I said $611 million, the first one. So of course they're gonna make another one. Were there any songs left? They used up the best ones in the first one, didn't they? Now let's talk about birthdays. 1938 is the birth of Natalie Wood. Started as a child actress. She's in the original Miracle on 31st Street, the far superior Miracle on 34th Street. She's also in Rebel Without a Cause and The Searchers. I've mentioned a couple times on this channel those films, some of them in the Greatest Films of All Time series. So she died in 1981. She was 43 years old. She was murdered by Robert Wagner. You can say otherwise. I'm going to say she was murdered by Robert Wagner. Yeah. Okay. And then we have a death. In 1973, Bruce Lee died. He was born in 1944, I think? 41? I should know this. Do the math. He was 32 when he died. So you tell me, what year was he born? Died of a cerebral edema. I almost said cerebral enema. I don't know what that is, but I'm pretty sure a cerebral enema would also kill you. Um, Known for a number of things. Of course, he was Kato in the Green Hornet, which I saw someone today call a failed TV show. Kato's legacy lives on. And then, of course, he's in all of those great Japanese action films: The Big Boss, Fist of Fury, Enter the Dragon, Game of Death, founder of Jet Kune Do. Yeah, Be Like Water. Bruce Lee. So that's it for this day. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe.